Are you in any way concerned about the statistics on crimes committed by illegal immigrants in the United Kingdom? Because on the face of it, that's the information that this government doesn't seem to want you to know. And that's what I'll get into in this video. But just before we get to that, if I could ask you the very quick favour of hitting the subscribe button down below. It's free, but I depend on you, the viewer, to do that, to help my channel grow, to help you get to the truth and hold this government accountable. That I do along with helping you to understand law on this channel. So this is exactly what Rupert Lowe is looking to do, Rupert Lowe MP. But even before we get to that, it seems that the government does take illegal immigration seriously, because they even throw up a website to say report an immigration or customs crime. That is somebody entering the UK illegally when they don't have permission and they need permission to do so. Rupert Lowe MP, on the other hand, is holding the government accountable to these statistics, which don't seem to be readily available. He says, my letter following the department's failure to publish statistics on crimes committed by illegal migrants. Did she mislead Parliament? He asks. The British people deserve to know this information. And before we get to that letter, there's a reason that you might want to be concerned about this. Now, just with the caveat that correlation doesn't necessarily equal causation, but it is certainly something that people might find concerning. These are the Office of National Statistics reports on police recorded offences of a very serious nature and increasing in recent years. Now, the notes make clear that police recorded crime data are not designated as national statistics, and there's various other reasons that these might have changed. Nonetheless, there is a serious increase in these reported offences. Likewise, there is an increase in migration, which I'll come to in a moment. But when you go to the Office for National Statistics on illegal migration in the last 10 years, they say Freedom of Information requests asking the number of illegal immigrants in the UK. We don't hold any data about illegal immigrants. Measuring illegal immigration, our current view remains the latest position about estimating illegal immigration. And that is that it's very difficult to estimate, but nonetheless, they do have statistics for long-term immigration. And as you can see here, the increase from non-EU areas into the UK. And at the same time, they say they don't provide full details on that, but nonetheless. This coincides with statistics from another source, Statista. They pull sources from various places as well. This showing an increase in the police recorded offences from 2002 to 2023-24. And again, similar figures, migration figures into the UK. Now, why is any of this and all of this relevant? Well, obviously because of the increase in migration into the UK that a lot of people are concerned about. Now, this letter, coming back to Rupert Lowe's letter, he says, on the 25th of November, in response to my oral questions, the following exchange took place. He asked, I am sure that the Home Secretary would agree with me that good government is a transparent government. I've been told by her department in response to a written question that the number of crimes committed by illegal migrants is not available through published statistics. I'm sure that the Home Office does hold the data, so would the Minister today commit to publishing that information in full? Now, just to air my views here, I agree that good government is transparent government and everybody should have all of the information. Otherwise, how are you to know who to vote for and know that they are acting in your interests and so on? Minister of State responds, there's a huge statistical drop of immigration-related national statistics coming at the end of this week. The information I requested was not released, he says, as part of that huge drop of immigration-related statistics, despite your insinuation. So her response, just to make this clear, her response was that there's a huge drop of information coming at the end of the week, in response to the question that asked specifically for the information on crimes committed by illegal migrants to the UK. So, very simple terms, please give me this data. There's data coming at the end of the week. One would reasonably infer that that information is coming as part of the big drop. It didn't, apparently. He says, I'm concerned that your answer may be interpreted as misleading Parliament. That is because, on my understanding here, that is because her answer suggested that the information will come as a huge drop of information at the end of the week, but didn't. He says, if the figures I requested were not to be released, as I'm sure you knew, why did you not state that to Parliament? In other words, why didn't she say, well, there's a huge drop of information, but your information's not within it? So not really answering the question. In a subsequent written question, you've confirmed that this information has not been published. I have one central question, he says. Will the Home Office commit to publishing data on crimes committed by irregular migrants, as they're now referred to, who've entered the UK, entered the country via small boat? MPs are elected to hold government to account, and that is what he's doing. That involves asking uncomfortable questions that must be answered honestly in the House of Commons. I don't believe that happened, and will be raising my questions with the Speaker unless I receive a satisfactory response. And so that is Rupert Lowe holding this government to account on these statistics that lots of people, doubtless, will be interested to know about. And at the same time, Shivani Raja, MP for Leicester East, holding the government to account by asking a question directly to Keir Starmer, who simply fails to answer the question. Have a listen to this question, which is blatantly ignored, in my view, by Keir Starmer.
The Prime Minister's decision to impose VAT on independent schools strips hard-working families of the choice for what is best for their children, while risking job losses for teachers, increasing class sizes, and squeezing state school resources to their absolute limit. With these impending threats, what actions is the Prime Minister taking to mitigate these effects if he is not undertaking an impact assessment to understand them?
Look, I do understand that many parents across the country save hard to be able to send their children to private school because they have aspiration for their children. So does every parent who sends their children to a state school. And the problem we have is we don't have enough teachers in key subjects in our state secondary school. Now, the party opposite may be prepared to tolerate that. I'm not. And that's why we've made this change to fund 6,500 teachers.
So his answer to the question, she asked, what is he going to do to mitigate the effects for those children that are forced out of private schools if they have not undertaken a risk assessment as to what's going to happen? So what steps is he going to do to mitigate that effect? His response was that he understands that many parents have aspirations for their children and send them to private school, but so does everyone else. And those schools need teachers, and that's why they're taking money from the private schools. Now, that is not an answer to the question. The question was, what is he going to do to mitigate the effects for those children that are forced out of private schools if they have not undertaken an impact assessment of what's going to happen to those children across those schools across the country? That is not an answer to the question, and he knows it. And that is one reason I do these videos. So thank you for watching.